one.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to go over callings and meetings inside Microsoft Teams. This is a live event, so we do have a few basic controls. So before we move any further, I just want to make sure everybody understands all the options that you have. Let me just fix one thing here on this PowerPoint. Here we go. Perfect. All right, like I said before, it's a live event, so you can pause and resume anytime. If you need to step away for a bit, not to worry, you can do it so. We also have closed captions enabled. We do broadcast the session here in high definition. However, if you are experiencing blurry or maybe some pixelation, you're definitely going to have to go on the cogwheel here and adjust the video quality from auto to one of those predetermined settings. Also, if you do have any issues with audio, please verify first that you have audio on your system. We can always ask a question here on the Q&A, and we can troubleshoot with you. And here is going to be the only way that you're going to have to communicate with us, because like I said, this is a live presentation. So your camera and your microphone will be off for the remaining of the session. So whether you have a question, technical difficulties, or comment, just please let us know. We're here for you. We want to make sure everybody understands everything that we're going to go over today. So you can ask your question right here, and you can either put your name or you can post as anonymous as well. That's will be fine. Let me introduce myself and my colleagues. My name is Rod. Together with me, I have Genevieve, I have Delia. We all based off New York City location. We all Microsoft trainers. We do all the sessions for Microsoft 365, and that includes Microsoft Teams, including callings and meetings. And that's what we're going to go over specifically for today's session. And if you've never been to the store, this is the Microsoft store in Manhattan, located on 5th Avenue between 53rd and 54th Street. So if you're ever nearby, definitely drop by the store. Very cool stuff. For instance, on the second floor here, we do have a real size McLaren connected to an Xbox where you can take for a ride. I took my son there a couple weeks ago. Kid loved it. Definitely worth your time. All right, so Microsoft Teams offers ultimate flexibility for meetings and calling. You can host meetings from anywhere, anytime, and with anyone. You can make calls, manage contacts, and check your voicemail, all from Teams. So in today's session, we're going to focus on learning the mechanics of using Teams meetings and calling features, including full meetings lifecycle, the experience, and also the detailed use of the calling features. Virtually connect to one-on-one, lead a team meeting or training, or maybe host an interactive webinar for up to 1,000 attendees. You can engage your audience, review notes, see live reactions, transition between presenters, and feel like you're in the room together. Microsoft Teams offer a cloud-based phone system with advanced features, including call transfer, hold, and consult, then transfer options. You can call from anywhere on any device through the Microsoft Teams application for desktop, mobile, or the web version as well. With that being said, just give me one moment to switch over to my live demonstration here. All right, perfect. I am using a virtual machine with Windows 11. So even though my operating system, let me minimize so you can all see my desktop. My operating system might look slightly different than yours. However, the application itself, so whether you access through the web or through the desktop version, is going to be the same. For today's demonstration, I'm just going to use the desktop version. But if you're using the web version, all the settings will be the same. except for a few things. If there's any major difference, I'll make sure that I mention if you use the web version. On the top right corner on the screen, you do have your digital profile. And I did introduce myself as Rod. However, as you can see, I am not using my profile. I am using a demonstration account, one of many that we have here at Microsoft. And this particular one is from Alan D. Young. Alan works for a fictional company named Contoso. So from this point on, I will be Alan. So here is where you can set your availability or status. Status is an indication to your other colleagues or coworkers whether you're available or not. Maybe you're busy in a meeting or maybe you're away from your desk. So right now, as you can see, Alan is set to available, and that's indicated with this green dot and also with the word available. You can easily change that to many of those predetermined features, but Microsoft Teams is very intelligent. So if you are in a call or perhaps in a meeting, your status will change automatically to busy. And if you're doing a demonstration, perhaps a presentation, sharing your screen, your status will change automatically to do not disturb. But you can easily change here as you need it. The main difference between the do not disturb status to all the other ones is that the do not disturb, it will mute all your notifications. And you're going to see in just a bit how the notifications work. However, just be aware that do not disturb will mute temporarily your notifications. Having said that, let's take a look on the settings. On the left side of a profile, we have those three dots, also known as ellipses. So every time you do see an ellipsis, whether it's here on Microsoft Teams or any other Microsoft 365 product, it indicates you have more settings or additional configurations. So if you open this up, we have a few different settings. The one that we're going to go over right now, it's the first one, is the settings. And here is where you can adjust all the configurations for Microsoft Teams. We don't have time to go to every single option. However, I'm going to highlight the most important ones that I do believe everybody should be aware of. First of all, under notifications, I did mention there are two kinds of notifications on Microsoft Teams. We have banner notification, which is a little pop-up that comes up here on the bottom right corner on the screen if you're using Windows. And there's a little rectangle that stays for about 3 to 5 seconds. So if you don't interact with that, meaning that you don't click on it, it will go away and you're not going to see anymore. However, there is a second kind of notification that's called feed, and that's going to be located on the left rail right here under your activities. So for instance, if you go on a chat, if someone sends you a message inside the chat, you can have the notification to pop up right here on the banner, or you can turn off that completely. Or maybe if someone mention you inside a chat, whether it's a one-on-one chat or the group chat, you can have the notifications set from the banner and the feed, or to show on the feed only. So as you can see, some settings you can adjust to turn off. Some settings you can't. So going back to the settings right here, under privacy, you can actually add someone into your priority access list. And what that's going to do is if you do set yourself to do not disturb, meaning that you're not going to receive those notifications, this will actually enable anybody who's inside the list so you can still receive those notifications. Maybe someone important like your manager or perhaps someone that you're working with. So if you exit this list right now, right here, as you can see, I do have Alex on my list. So maybe Alex is someone that I'm working all the time. So if he does call me or send me a message, I want to make sure I'll be notified. It doesn't matter if I'm running a presentation or not. I want him to be notified. So You don't want to add too many people here because basically that's going to diffuse the purpose. It should be on Do Not Disturb, but you do have the option to do so if you choose. Let's take a look under General tab. Before I move into the call settings, I always like to point it out. Here, you can change your theme. Right now, we're looking at standard theme, which is a white background. But you can change your dark theme that goes easy on your eyes because it reduces the amount of light that goes into your eyes. Definitely give it a try. Also, we do have one of the many accessibility features available on Microsoft Teams, which is a high contrast. With a high contrast, you're just going to highlight it, a few important items. So folks who have a low or impaired vision, they're going to be able to interact with the application as well. With that, I'm going to jump into the call settings. And here's where you're going to be adjust all the settings pertaining to your calling features. Let's start with your voicemail right in the middle. So as far as the voicemail goes, you have two different settings. You can either record your own greeting with the first option right here. And since I am using a virtual machine, I'm not able to demonstrate this right now. However, on your own environment, as you click to record a greeting, you're going to be prompted to start recording. And as soon as you're done, you're going to be able to listen to a recording. And if you're satisfied, you can save it. And that's going to be your greeting. Another option is if you want Microsoft Teams to read a message for you, you can actually type anything you want right here. You can type under your custom greeting. And as soon as you hit your voicemail, a machine is going to read that for you. And you have a few different options. Usually it's based by the language of the application. However, if you want to leave on a different language, definitely make sure you change the language right here to the language that you have there. Otherwise, the text is probably not going to be 100%. Also, as far as the entry goes, by default, if anybody hits once the person hits your voicemail, let's say you don't answer the phone or forward your voicemail, by default, you're going to be able to let them leave a message. However, you can change that. You can actually play your greeting and end the call, or perhaps transfer the call to somebody else. And you're going to see there's a lot of different options as far as forwarding calls and things like that on Microsoft Teams. So you don't need to use it, but for some reason you decide to do it, you do have all sorts of different options right here. As well, if you scroll down to the bottom, you're able to actually sync with your outer office greeting, and that's sync with Outlook. So if you do have that set up with Outlook, you're going to be able to sync it right here. And that's because all the events that you have in calendar on Outlook are also going to be able to show right here on Teams. And that's because they will both work on Exchange. So you can either schedule a meeting here on Microsoft Teams or on Outlook. It doesn't matter. They will sync. Besides your voicemail, the first option that you have here is what you want to do when someone calls you. By default, it's going to call you, so you're going to receive a notification, and if you don't answer, it's going to hit your voicemail. But you can change that. Rather than your voicemail, maybe you don't want to go to the voicemail, or perhaps you want to forward the call to your voicemail directly. And this is a good option if you want to perhaps, if you go on vacation and you know for a fact you're not going to be in your office. And by default, you're going to have a 20 seconds, so the call is going to ring for 20 seconds, and if you don't answer, it's going to be the voicemail, or it's just going to die, the call. But you can set up to 30 seconds, actually up to a minute. From 10 seconds up to 1 whole minute. So I think 20 seconds is a little too short. I usually leave on mine about 30 or 40 seconds. Last but not least, you can adjust your ringtone. You do have a lot of different options right here. And this is going to be the notification you're going to receive, again, which is a little banner. It's going to pop up, and it's going to ring for X amount of seconds, and I have set it up right here. But enough of that. We do have a lot more settings right here. Again, I don't have time to go to every single settings, but I highly recommend it on your own time. Take a look and adjust and see the settings that you want to change it. For now, I'm just going to close it. And let's start with the meeting. So on the left rail, let's go under calendar. And like I mentioned before, any events that you have right here on this calendar, they're going to sync with Outlook and vice versa. So let's schedule a new meeting. So there's a few different ways that you can schedule a meeting. You can pick any empty spot, and that's going to generate a new meeting. Or on the top right corner, you have a new meeting drop down here, where you can schedule a meeting, a webinar. The difference between a webinar and a meeting is that a webinar, the microphones and the cameras are currently they will be off, and you can have up to 1,000 people on this event. On a meeting, you can also have to 1,000 people, but they're going to be able to actually use the camera and the microphone. In a live event, that's exactly what we have right now. The cameras and the microphone are off. Only the presenters and the producers have the ability to share anything. And also you can have up to 10,000 people. So you have those three different options right here. Usually on a meeting, just want to schedule a regular meeting. So let's go ahead and click on the meeting here. And that's going to bring up your meeting screen. So the first thing you want to adjust, you want to give your meeting a name. I'm going to call this afternoon meeting. And the next field is going to be who you're going to invite to the meeting. Here is going to be your colleagues, whoever you want to go into the meeting. If it's someone inside your organization, you do not need to type their whole email address. All you need is to type their name. For instance, I want to type my colleague Alex. There you go. Also, I want to invite Megan, Patty, Nestor, where's Pradeep? Here we go, Pradeep. Nice. That's fine. If you want to invite anybody else that's outside your organization, you can definitely do it. You do need to type the whole email address. For instance, I can type my Microsoft email here. Nice. Next one, you're going to adjust the time. We did select it for today, but on the drop down right here, you can schedule any future meeting. For now, I'm just going to leave this for Tuesday. For 3:30, I'm going to set that for maybe 4 o'clock to 4:30. You can always adjust it manually because on the drop down, you're only going to have half an hour increments, but you can adjust it to maybe 4:45. And now it's a 45-minute meeting. Also, perhaps this meeting right here is going to be recurring, meaning that we're going to have every week or maybe every month, every quarter, whatever the case might be. You do have a lot of different options you can change right here. Monthly, weekly, daily, even custom made. For now, it's just going to be a one-time occurrence, so don't need that. Next option that you do have, if you want this meeting to be aggregated into a channel, you have the option to do that. And the difference is if you don't add a channel right here, any message, any file that might be exchanged inside this meeting, a new chat will be generated automatically. And inside the chat, all those resources are going to be available. If you actually do select the channel, for instance, maybe Contoso or any other channel that you belong with, all the resources are going to be located inside the channel and not inside the chat. That's the main difference. For the time being, I'm just going to leave that empty. I'm not going to put it to a channel. Next field that I have is the location. Most meetings nowadays are virtual, so that's totally optional. If it is going to be on a certain conference room, definitely go ahead and put it right here. The last option that you have is the details for the meeting, whether maybe you have an agenda or maybe some notes that you need everybody should know before the meeting starts. You can type that right here. And before we send this message, let's go to the Schedule Assistant. Very good feature. With Scheduling Assistant, that's going to tell you based on the events of everybody's calendar, whether they are available or not. You're not going to be able to see what they're actually doing, but if they're available or not. But that option needs to be enabled on their Outlook calendar. It should be a shared calendar option. The only caveat is that it does not work with anybody externally, like myself here. I don't work for Contoso, work for Microsoft, so they can't tell whether I'm available or not. But everybody internally, you can easily see if they're available or not. So if I want a meeting for tomorrow at 8:30, I can see right away, not a good time, because not a lot of people are going to be available. But that time is good, 4 to 45. Seems like everybody is available except for myself. I don't know. Also, you can, by default, every time you do send this meeting right here, let me go back to details. Everybody here is going to be receive an email on your behalf, requesting whether they're going to participate in the meeting or not. But you can turn it off. You can turn off response right here. This way, they don't need to say whether they will be attending, attentive or not. You can also disable forwarding, meaning they're not going to be able to forward this email, this invite to other people. By default, that option is on. You also be able to require registration. By default, is disabled, but you can turn on for people inside the organization or perhaps for everybody who attend this meeting. For now, I'm just going to send this meeting. And within a few seconds, the meeting is going to be generated. Here we go. After the meeting is generated, you can adjust a few more settings. So if you open this up, we can click on Edit to edit the meeting or Expand right here. Either way, you're going to be greeted to kind of the same screen you had before, but as you can see, you have a few more options now. I want to highlight the meeting options that it wasn't available before. Now it is. With the meeting options, you, as an organizer, you can modify quite a few things here. For instance, who can bypass the lobby? So everybody who joins your meeting, you can set maybe anybody can bypass the lobby, or maybe someone only inside my organization, or only me and the co-organizers. Everybody else is going to have to wait in the lobby until I approve them so they can join the meeting. As you can see, by default, it's going to be everybody in your organization and guests, but it can easily change that. Another cool option is you as an organizer can actually point it out co-organizers, so they're going to have those meeting controls as well. You can search for people right here. All we got to do is put their name. For instance, maybe we want Alex to be a co-organizer. Also, this option is very important to adjust who can actually share or present. Right now, it's set to everybody. So maybe you're doing a presentation that it's going to be 40, 50 people, who knows? And you don't want anybody to be able to share the screen. So you can lock this for only you, any organizers, or perhaps a few more people who can actually present and share the screen. You can even disable the microphone and the camera. By default, it's on, but you can disable that. You can even disable the reactions. And once inside the meeting, we're going to see how the reaction works. So I'm not going to change too much. I'm just going to add Alex as a co-organizer, and I'm going to save it. And those settings, by the way, you can adjust before, as we're doing here. But once you're in the meeting, you can adjust the same setting. You're going to have the same settings as well to change it. So if you forgot to change something, not to worry, you can always adjust. And here on the top, you have a few cool options. For instance, maybe you want to send a file before the meeting starts. That's done through here. There's no way to actually attach a file before the meeting starts. I mean, before you schedule a meeting, as soon as you schedule a meeting, you can edit or expand here, and then you're going to be able to attach a file on the chat. So on the chat right here, you can say, for instance, let's work on this file. And on the bottom here on the chat, you do have what's called message extensions. For instance, the first one, you can format this message a little better. So maybe you want to bold. You can change the font size. By default is medium. You can put large. You can also set your delivery options. And I did mention in the beginning of the session that if you do set yourself to do not disturb, the only way that someone's going to bypass it is if you add them on your priority contact list. But the second way that anybody can bypass anybody's status if you send an urgent message. And that's only available inside the chat, by the way. This option is not inside the channel, only inside the chat. If you do send an urgent message, everybody who's inside this chat, in this case, whoever, all the people that are invited, they're going to receive that little notification on the bottom right corner right here, a little pop-up every 2 minutes for 20 minutes, meaning that they're going to receive 10 notifications. So until they interact with it. As soon as they interact with the message, the notification is not going to come up again. But that could be very distracting, especially because if someone is do not disturb status, they probably concentrated, or perhaps they're sharing the screen, they're doing a presentation, so it could be distracting. So just use this with caution because it could be annoying. You can also send an important message, which doesn't send multiple notifications, just send one. But it kind of highlights it a little, stands out a little bit more because it does say it's important on it. But this message is not important, so I'm just going to put a standard message. And for now, I'm just going to attach a file on the paperclip. I can either search for the file from my computer or from my OneDrive, which is the cloud storage. All the files are on the cloud. So let me select a file that I think might be important for this meeting. This one here, security concerns, which is an Excel file. Share this. And I'm going to send it away. Perfect. So everybody should be able to access this file before the meeting starts. Going back to the details on the meeting. You're also able to create breakout rooms even before the meeting, as you have the option right here, or during the meeting as well. And what breakout rooms are? Breakout rooms are separate rooms that you can create inside your meeting. Maybe you have a group, a big group, maybe like 50 people right inside the meeting, and then you have different departments, or maybe you want to set up brainstorming, so you create groups inside the meeting, so you kind of keep things separate a little bit. You can create up to 50 breakout rooms at this point. So it's a lot of different options for your meetings right here. So you can create right here. And like I said, up to 50 rooms. And either before, as you see, or during the meeting. I'm going to show how you can do that as well. For now, I'm not going to create any breakout room. I'm just going to go ahead and join a meeting. And before you join a meeting, just make sure that you adjust your camera. I am using a virtual machine right now, so my camera is disabled. But in your environment, you should be able to adjust the camera right here. And as soon as you turn it on, the virtual background on the right side is going to be enabled, and you can adjust that. Also, your sound, your microphone. Just make sure as soon as you join a meeting, my recommendation is always to join a meeting with a microphone off. And it's because you never know if you're going to be interrupting someone or not. And you can always turn it back on once you're inside a meeting. But for now, it looks good. I'm just going to join it. And as I see right here, my two colleagues are inside the meeting. Perfect. So let's go over all the settings that are available over here for you. Starting from the top, you have your people icon, which is going to display who's inside the meeting right now, who else were invited. As you can see, I invited I invite quite a few of people right here, 6, but only 2 were able to join, including myself, Alan. But you can always invite somebody else. So if I forgot to invite someone and the meeting already started, not sure, you can always type someone right there, either someone inside the organization, email, or phone number. You can always have someone join with audio only. That's possible as well. Also, you as an organizer, and I do see here that Alex raised his hand. On the top here, you have your reactions. And one of those reactions is raise your hand. That's a very, I believe, is a very important feature to understand, because if you're in a meeting, most likely if it's not a one-on-one meeting, you might have 5, you might have 10, you might have 100 people, who knows? And if more than 2 people are talking at the same time, even more than 1 people talking at the same time, it's going to be hard to understand. So this way, you can keep a little bit more organized. And I can say, for instance, hey, Alex, it looks like your first one. You can come off mute. What do you want to talk about? And this moves down the line in more organized manner. And me as an organizer, I can go on Alex. All the way to the right, I have your ellipsis. And I can lower his hand. I can do this with Megan as well. Also, as an organizer, right now, Alex is mute. His microphone is off, as you can see right here. However, if his microphone was on and he was talking, I could easily mute him. That's definitely possible. Only for myself and the co-organizers, we have this option. As well as removing someone like Megan. I can remove Megan from the meeting, and the reason why I'm not able to remove Alex is because I pointed Alex to be a co-organizer. So he's just like me, so I can't kick him out. I will need to adjust first the settings, and let's go over the settings, the meeting settings. Under the ellipsis, meeting options right here. It looks a little bit different, however, it's the same one, except instead of the browser, the meeting options right here inside of meeting. Then you're gonna have the same kind of options you had before. I can even remove Alan to be a co-organizer here if you want. I'm gonna leave him there for now. You're also gonna have your chat, which is, by the way, is persistent. So any file, any message that we share here, always gonna have a history, right? And this is very important to know, because if you do have a meeting that occurs maybe like every week, reoccurring, or every month, you're always gonna have a history on your chat. You're gonna keep the same chat, and you can always refer back to a particular file that was shared before. Let me lower my hand right now. You also have your reactions, and the way the reaction works. If you look at my profile here, I'm gonna put this little heart. Little heart is gonna come up on the screen on my profile right there for maybe like 3 seconds or so, and it goes away. And that's basically how it works. So if you want to give a claps, you can clap it away a few seconds, and then it's gone. As we talked before, we could have a set up a breakout room before or during a meeting, as we're here right now. So we can set up, we have the same option. We can set up to 50 breakout rooms. You can assign someone automatically, or we can do it manually. A lot of different options right there. As far as sharing the screen, you do have a few different options. So this share tray right here. And remember, you as an organizer, if I go back to the meeting options, you can choose who's going to share your screen, right? Who can present. Present and share is the same thing. So right now it's set to everyone. Maybe you and a co-organizer can do it. Everybody else would see this icon, but it will be disabled. So if I hit share right here, through the options that you have, you can either share your whole screen, and it's exactly what I'm doing right now. Right now I'm sharing my whole desktop, or perhaps you have one particular window. Maybe you have a Windows Explorer right here, and you just want to share this window right here, not everything else. Just share that window. Refresh that, here we go. So now everybody only going to see this window. So it doesn't matter if I minimize it, they're not going to see anything else. And throw off, sometimes people will throw off when you're sharing a window or a desktop, because as you can see, the window kind of minimized on its own. You can click again to show up, but that's because they, as you present, I'm assuming that you want to show whatever you're presenting. That's why it's minimized, but you can easily click and expand the meeting again. And you can stop sharing right here. Right now, I'm still sharing this particular window. Also, you do have another option right here, very cool. In my opinion, a great application, one of the best applications inside a meeting, which is Whiteboard. And anybody should be able to initiate a whiteboard as long as they have the share capability. In a whiteboard, I'm going to create a new whiteboard right here. Whiteboard is like a blank canvas that anybody can contribute. Going back to the example of brainstorming, we have a few templates here for brainstorming. So anybody who's inside a meeting, you're going to maybe to draw it here, import image, all sorts of things right here. Pretty cool. It's a very cool app. And the greatest thing is that once this meeting is done, you're still going to be able to access the same whiteboard inside your chat. So I'm going to stop sharing this for a bit. Under the ellipses, there's a few more options I want to talk about. One of those is start recording. So as you can see here, I invited a lot of people, but not everybody were able to make it. That's fine, even myself, as you see right here. And I am on do not disturb status because I am giving this presentation. That's how Microsoft Teams works. But I'm going to be recording the session, so maybe you can share with the other colleagues. Maybe they missed something. And anybody will be able to restart recording and stop the recording. However, whoever start the recording, they own the recording, meaning that that recording will be located on their OneDrive. And we're going to see how that works. So let me just stop the recording for now. And you as an organizer, you can leave like anybody else, like Megan and Alex, they can always leave, no problem. But if you want to end the meeting, you and a co-organizer, they have this option called end meeting. And that's going to end the meeting for everybody. Here we go. So now looking on the chat, we have our afternoon meeting, which was created automatically. And here's going to be all the resources, all the files, messages, even the recording that we started will be here. And the whiteboard as well. On the top, you have your tab line, and whiteboard is right here. And you're going to see is exactly how we left off. Very convenient. Another way to schedule a meeting is through Outlook. Very similar, a few different options, but overall, pretty much the same. Let me open up Outlook so I can show you all. On Outlook, on the bottom, you have a few different options. You have your email, and you have your calendar. On the top, you can make a new appointment, but that's only going to be for Outlook, or you can create a meeting. And new meetings right here. And as you can see, it's a little bit different. The settings are a little different, but you have the meeting options, the same thing. Just going to open up all the options we had before. If you require response, you can. The major difference that I think of is that with meeting generated on Outlook, this section right here, which is the meeting options, the link, so anybody can join the meeting, and also the phone number, so people can dial in, is generated as you create the meeting at the same time. On Microsoft Teams, this is only generated after. But other than that, you have the same options right here. I'm not going to create this meeting. I'm just going to close it out. So switching back to Microsoft Teams again. Let's take a look on calls. So as far as the call goes, you can make a call right here, just type the name of the person. But what makes this Microsoft Teams very convenient, if you're inside a chat, for instance, this chat that I have here with Deborah, which is a one-on-one chat, I can initiate a call right here. On the top right, you have an option to initiate a call with voice only or a video call. The same option is also available on a group chat. Top right corner here, video call and audio call. Same option is also available inside a channel. The only difference is called ad hoc meeting, meaning that it's an unscheduled meeting. So if I do click right here, that's going to basically generate a new meeting. And it's going to invite everybody who's inside this particular channel. But the concept is the same. Going back to the calls tab, you have your contacts right here. As you can see, I only have one contact, but I can easily add more contacts. If you actually add a contact from Outlook, you will sync here as well. So you don't need to add on both places. Going back to the phone, it's loading my voicemail right here. So now this is a demonstration account, so I don't have a whole lot of history, but all your incoming calls right here, all your missed calls, income calls right here, the outgoing calls are right here. And if you do have any voicemail, I don't think I have any, that would be right here. And if you do click on the voicemail on the right side, you can actually play the voicemail, delete it, and call that person back. Also, if you have more contacts here, you can add it to the speed dial. And switching back to phone, the speed dial is going to be located right here on the right side. So people that you contact the most, you might be good to add them to speed dial. So this way you have, to type their name, you just click on right here and you can call them up. Let me call my colleague Alex, for instance. So this is going to be a call, not a meeting. All right, so as you see, this is a call, but however, it's very similar to the options we had before. We had your people icon, what are going to be, who is in a call right now. I can always invite somebody else right here. You have your chat. And as you can see, chats are persistent, like I mentioned before. So even though I probably didn't call Alex today or yesterday, I had a conversation with him a few days ago on the 20th. And that's why I'm able to see the history right here. But you do have the same option. You can share either your screen, your whole screen, or a particular window. Whiteboard is also available here, as well as PowerPoint Live. PowerPoint Live, it is a cool experience. If you are sharing, like if you're doing a presentation, you can have your notes, your PowerPoint notes that only you see, and everybody else only going to see the slides. Let's see if I have any PowerPoint that I can open up here. All right. So if you do have any notes, as you can see, everybody's going to see this screen right here. Nobody's going to see your notes. So you can have all your notes here, read it this way, and you can keep things organized, even if you have only one monitor. And you have a highlighter right here. You have a laser pointer. Very cool options. So let me stop sharing right now. And also you can you should have the same options as before. Let me just stop sharing this PowerPoint. Stop presenting. Those three options right here, those four options, it's only available inside a call, not inside a meeting. So you can, because it's a call, I can hold the call. That's going to place Alex on a brief hold. This is going to hear some music elevator. I can also go and transfer him, but I think a better option than do a transfer, you just consult someone and then transfer. I can type someone's name right here or email. I'm going to type my other colleague, Megan. Make sure she's online. And before we transfer Alex right here, I just want to chat with Megan real quick. Make sure she's available, and I can say, are you free? Go with Alex. And I know right away, most likely she's free because based on her profile, she's available. So she should be able to take this call. So I can see right away that she's typing here already. So that's a good sign. Most definitely, I'm available. I'm going to give a little heart. Just to acknowledge her message. And I'm going to transfer. As soon as I transfer, this call is going to be dropped on my end. It might take a few seconds until she actually answers the call. And eventually it's going to be transferred over. While I'm waiting here we go. We do have about 14 minutes left. I want to take a quick pause and see if there's any questions that need to be addressed at this point.
Hi, Rod. Thank you for the great presentation. I've kept a look on the Q&A, a close eye on them, on the questions. Actually, there have not been any questions coming in. We do welcome them. We're here to help. There are no questions at this time, Rod.
All right, Jenny, thank you so much. So let's see a few other options that we have here. So oftentimes you want to create a contact group. As you see right here, I have one Bravo that I could potentially add more contacts, but the option to add contacts is not exactly here. It's inside a chat. So if you open up your chat all the way on top, there's a little drop down that's going to change from chat to your contacts. And here you can add a new contact group. I can say, for instance, sales. I'm going to call sales. Here we go. Groups right here. All the way to the right, you have ellipses, and you can start adding folks into your group. I'm going to add Pradeep. I'm going to add Patty. Nestor. I'm going to add Ellen or Alex. And just one more. My colleague, Megan. There we go. So now switching back to calls. My group is right here. Very convenient. You can manage, you can call your whole group, no problem. Switching back to your calendar. As we see, it did generate a chat. And this particular recording right here, like I said, I started, so I own that recording. So if I want to download it, maybe I want to share it with anybody externally, how can you do that? Good question. On the left rail, you have your files. So here you're going to have all the files that are exchanged inside a channel on the Teams or on your one private OneDrive. Where is that recording, you might ask? Well, every time you do initiate a recording, first time you do initiate a recording, a folder will be created automatically on your behalf called recordings, as you see right here. And inside a folder, any meeting that you have, that you have the recording, it's stored right here. As you can see, the afternoon meeting is this one, and I can tell right away it's new recording because on the left side of it, we do have those three little lines indicating it's a pretty new file. I can go on the ellipses right here and download it, or the same option is available here as well. So you can download to your local computer, and I can share that way as well. But anybody who's inside this channel, they can actually open this recording right here. There's also a attendance report that was generated automatically. And let me just download right here. All it is a basic an Excel file with everybody who participated in the meeting. It's a little breakdown. Whoever joined the meeting, what time left the meeting, any emails and users, whether they're a presenter or an organizer. And as you can see, even though I am Alan, I am the organizer. However, I did assign Alex to be a co-organizer. He's also going to be listed as an organizer as well. All right, while we wait to see if there's any questions at all, I'm going to switch back to my PowerPoint. And what I can do, I can go over a quick recap. So in today's session, we went over the meeting options that you have, from scheduling a meeting, joining a meeting. We saw how the sharing file works, all the collaboration, whether it's a message, a whiteboard, or any application that you might have, or any file that was shared inside a meeting that should be available after the meeting is over inside a chat, or if you do assign to a particular channel, all those files and messages are going to be inside the channel. We also saw all the settings available as far as calls, to set up a voicemail inside the settings itself on the left side of your digital profile, as well as the contacts and how we can actually call someone. And as far as calling goes, it's fairly similar to a meeting, except for a few tiny differences. With that being said, we are towards the end of our session. We have about 8 minutes left, so I want to take a last pause and see if there's any questions before we wrap it up.
Hi, Rod. Thank you for the great presentation again. There are no questions in the Q&A at this time.
Okay, Genevieve, thank you very much. So at this point, I want to thank you everybody for the time. Hopefully you're all able to understand or learn something new about callings and meetings on Microsoft Teams. And I do hope everybody have a great day. Thank you, my moderator as well. Thank you.